Quiz! What does the 13th U.S. President, Millard Fillmore, Morse code and telegraph inventor, Samuel Morse, and Lincoln's assassin, John Wilkes Booth, all have in common? It sounds like the setup to a strange joke, but in the mid 1850s, all three of these men were tied to one of the most secretive, violent, and surprisingly powerful political movements in American history, the Know Nothing Party. For a brief moment, this movement came out of nowhere, seized entire state governments, sparked bloody street riots, and set its sights on banning Catholic immigrants from public life. Then, just as fast as it rose, it completely exploded from the inside out. Here is the true story of the Know-Nothings, how a secret society with passwords and secret hand gestures tried to rewrite American law, the terrifying riots that followed, and why the whole thing came crashing down. To understand how the Know-Nothings started, you have to go back to the 1840s. During this decade, America saw a massive wave of immigration. Over 3 million people arrived on American shores, mostly Irish families, some German, and pretty much all of them seemed to be Catholic. For the ruling Anglo-Protestant leaders, this huge population shift was alarming. Wild conspiracy theories quickly spread. Pamphlets claimed that immigrants were stealing American jobs, that Catholic schools were indoctrination centers, that convents were holding girls against their will, and that the Pope was plotting to move the Vatican to the Mississippi Valley. Enter Charles B. Allen. In 1849, he founded a secret fraternity in New York City called the Order of the Star-Spangled Banner. This wasn't just a political club. It was a secret society. To join, you had to be a native-born Protestant and swear solemn oaths. Members used secret hand gestures, hidden passwords, and strict initiation rituals. When outsiders or reporters asked members what the group was up to, they were told to give one official response: "I know nothing about it." And just like that, the press dubbed them the Know-Nothings. What started as a hidden group quickly grew into a real political organization called the American Party. By 1854, they were ready to step out of the shadows and into the open. As the Know-Nothings gained ground, their anti-Catholic speeches turned into real-world violence. Anti-Catholic tension had already boiled over in Philadelphia back in 1844, when disputes over Catholic children reading their own Bible translation in public schools triggered 3 days of riots. 2 Catholic churches were burned to the ground, dozens were killed, and whole neighborhoods were destroyed. By the mid-1850s, the party actively teamed up with anti-immigrant street gangs in major cities. In Baltimore, gangs with names like the Plug Uglies, the Blood Tubs, and the Rip Raps acted as the group's muscle. On election days, these gangs camped out at polling places with knives and guns to physically block Irish and German Catholics from voting. Now that is what actual voter intimidation looks like. The most tragic escalation, though, came on August 6, 1855 in Louisville, Kentucky, a day known as Bloody Monday. Armed Know-Nothing guards took over polling stations. When Irish and German voters tried to cast their ballots, violent fights broke out. Armed mobs marched into immigrant neighborhoods, burning down homes, looting businesses, and shooting residents. At least 22 people were killed in a single day, and hundreds were left homeless. Local Catholic churches were threatened, saved only when the local bishop challenged the mayor to inspect them personally to prove no weapons were hidden inside. Despite the chaos, or perhaps because of it, the 1854 midterm elections shocked the country. The two major political parties, the Whigs and the Democrats, were splitting apart, and the Know-Nothings capitalized on the confusion. In Massachusetts, they scored a total sweep, winning the governorship, every single state Senate seat, and all but 2 seats in the state House. That means that all but 2 members of the entire Massachusetts state government were anti-Catholic. The Know-Nothings also won city halls in San Francisco, Chicago, Philadelphia, and Baltimore. So what did they actually do with all this newfound power? Well, their main goals were to 1, extend the waiting period for immigrant citizenship from 5 years to 21 years. 2, ban foreign-born citizens and Catholics from holding public office. 3, require the Protestant King James Bible in all public schools. And 4, restrict liquor sales, targeting favorite social spots of Irish and German communities. That last one. Wow. In practice, running the government ended up being a total disaster for the party. Most know-nothing politicians had 0 experience. In Massachusetts, the new legislature set up a special nunnery committee to search Catholic convents, suspecting the nuns were holding women captive. When the committee raided a school run by the Sisters of Notre Dame, they found nothing but frightened schoolgirls. To make matters worse, reports revealed that committee members charged the state for luxury dinners, expensive cigars, and trips to brothels during their investigation. The scandal outraged the public and exposed the party's blatant hypocrisy. Fortunately, almost none of their federal goals ever became law. By 1856, the Know-Nothing Party was at its peak and also on the edge of collapse. Why did it fail so fast? I would like to think because people realized it was really stupid. But no, it was because of the one issue they tried so desperately to ignore: slavery. The Know-Nothings thought that their anti-immigrant views might unite the North and the South, but when Congress passed the Kansas-Nebraska Act in 1854, opening Western territories to slavery, national attention shifted entirely. Nobody cared about secret hand signs or anti-Catholic pamphlets anymore. The nation was tearing itself apart over slavery. By their 1856 National Convention, it was obvious that the Know-Nothings were split right down the middle. Northern members walked out of the convention after Southern delegates added a pro-slavery stance to the platform. Eventually, Northern Know-Nothings mostly joined the newly formed anti-slavery Republican Party, while Southern members drifted toward the pro-slavery Democrats. By 1860, as the Civil War approached, the Know-Nothing Party had dwindled down to barely a memory. Although anti-Catholic sentiment and secret societies would persist for several decades. So, did you notice anything similar to the Know-Nothing era and the political environment we live in today? If you did, leave it in the comments. I know I did, so I'm wondering if y'all see it too. Please make sure to like and subscribe and head over to journeytosainthood.com as well. The story of the Know-Nothings shows how fear-driven movements can sweep through a country overnight and how quickly they burn out when faced with reality. For American Catholics, the 1850s were a massive test. But instead of backing down, the church built huge parish networks, expanded Catholic schools and orphanages, and founded hospitals that would care for everyone during the Civil War. What was meant to intimidate American Catholics ended up galvanizing them, proving that perseverance and trust in God outlast political fads. If that story interested you, if that story holds an interest for you, you might want to check out these 2 videos, more on Catholicism in America. Until next time, be saintly. Most Sacred Heart of Jesus, have mercy on us.